anniversary of the abduction of over 200 schoolgirls from Chibok, Borno State draws closer. Some religious leaders have marched for the rescue of the girls. The Imam of the Akwa Mosque, Sheikh Muhammad Nuru Khalid, and the Catholic Archbishop of Abuja, John Cardinal Onayekon, supported the call for the release of the girls during a procession in Abuja. Our correspondent Ajuri Ngale reports.
Who are we?
It is no coincidence that today's procession emanates from the Unity Fountain on a day when multiple faiths unite, unified in the belief that 195 missing young women will be rescued. His Eminence, Nigeria's Cardinal, and a highly respected Imam march together in solidarity. Striding shoulder to shoulder are faith leaders who inspire belief that intrinsic common bonds of humanity stand above false suspicions and ethnic bigotry in a diverse land craving peace and development above all. Arriving at the destination, faith leaders reveal the link between their pain and their protest.
The Holy Ghost Father was taken away by kidnappers over a year ago, and up till now we have had no information about him. Now that touches me, but I'm sure there are many Nigerians who are suffering the same thing from the loss of their members of their families.
Aware that Islamic clerics and followers comprise the overwhelming majority of Boko Haram's victims, Sheikh Muhammad Nuru Khalid says every human soul is of equal value.
Some clerics like myself have been killed somewhere because of the insurgency of Boko Haram. And we are not saying that the government is doing nothing, but we are telling them to do more. God of men should be safe. Every soul in Nigeria should be protected.
In the throes of tragedy, opportunities to see oneself in another emerge. This was a walk for the release of captive girls, but it was equally a march toward a more united nation. Ajuri Ngelale, Channels Television News.
Meanwhile, the Bring Back Our Girls group also took to the streets of the nation's capital today as part of its activities to mark the 3rd anniversary of the abduction of the girls. This time, however, it was not a protest, as the members entered the streets to engage citizens directly in a public sensitization campaign, handing out brochures containing updates on developments in the rescue efforts for the girls. The co-convener of the group, Dr. Obi Ezekwesili, says the group is not a closed one, but is open to public feedback.
There are many Nigerians who still need a lot of information on the tragedy of our Chibok girls. So in this engagement, it's supposed to help them to get all the information, the things that happened, the things that were in the media, the things that government said, the things that parents said. So the informational just helps you to keep a proper documentation of the issues. And that means that they are more informed. This movement does not have like a register of members. The minute you walk into the Unity Fountain, you're part of the movement. And you know, you're there to stand for Chibok girls. There is no, it's free entry, free exit. There's nothing other than that act of saying, I want to use my voice for Chibok girls as symbols of all other people who need to be given justice of rescue. So anyone can go online, be part of the movement. Anyone can be at the Unity Fountain daily, as we normally are, you know, so it's really not some, you know, group. No.
International human rights group Amnesty International is insisting that capital punishment does not serve as a deterrent to crime. In its report, Nigeria recorded over 300% increase in the number of death sentences from 171 in 2015 to 527 in 2016. By that figure, the country comes second after China, which is reported to have executed at least 931 people between 2014 and 2016. The increase in the national figure is due to the rise in the number of sentences in Lagos and Rivers states. While Lagos has the highest number with 68 sentences, Rivers comes next with 61, according to the report. It adds that 3 death row prisoners were executed in Bini, the Edo state capital, on December the 23rd, 2016, despite one of them getting his sentence during the military tribunal in 1997. Despite the increase in death sentences, execution is reported to have reduced from 43 in 2015 to 22 in 2016. It therefore calls on the federal government to review that option of punishment. 2 expatriates and 1 Nigerian, 1 Dr. Ilongasid Udom, have been kidnapped by gunmen in Akwa Ibom state. The expatriates, who worked with a construction company located in Ona local government area of the state, were said to have been kidnapped in a hotel in Neket, while Dr. Udom, a native of Idung Neke, and a retired ExxonMobil staff was kidnapped on Sunday while worshipping in a church. The police public relations officer in Akwa Ibom State Police Command, Mr. Okechukwu, said the police had commenced investigations into the incidents, while the Commissioner of Police, Mr. Donald Awana, has led a team of senior police officers to Eket over the matter. Let's cross over to Abuja now. Here's Linda Akigbe. Hey, Linda.
Hello, Ijoma. 205 members of staff at the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, have been suspended and placed on half salary. The Commission announced this at a press conference in Abuja today, adding that 70 others have also been referred for further investigation following a probe by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. The decision of INEC is coming after the anti-graft agency said it was investigating officials of the electoral body for allegedly collecting bribe during the 2015 elections.
Among other things, the committee found that A, there was a clear attempt to bribe INEC staff to influence the outcome of the 2015 general elections using an NGO, the West African Network of Election Observers, whose initials are WANEO, made up mainly of retired INEC senior officials. Out of the 23 billion naira which the EFCC report said was used to influence the elections, the committee established that 3 billion 46 million 829,000 naira was received by INEC staff in 16 states. Based on their level of involvement, 205 serving INEC staff will be immediately placed on interdiction, which entails suspension from duties and being placed on half salary, pending the final determination of the cases they have with the EFCC. Remember, the report we have is interim. The EFCC has not finalized the report yet, and it's only involved so far 16 states, so the remaining states are still out there. Even an interim report has not been issued yet by the EFCC.
An emergency meeting of governors and traditional rulers of the 19 northern states of the country has been held in Kaduna to discuss ways of tackling the meningitis outbreak that has claimed over 400 lives across Nigeria, most of them from the region. The meeting, which is convened by the Sultan of Sokoto, Saad Abubakar III, and the Minister of Health, Professor Isaac Adewale, was to seek alternative ways of procuring vaccines for the treatment of the victims and preventing further spread of the killer disease in the region.
Some governors and traditional rulers from the 19 states of the Federation arrive in the Kaduna State Government House. Health authorities and agencies are not left out. A crucial reason has brought them together: how to stem the tide of the outbreak of cerebrospinal meningitis, a viral or bacterial infection which has been reported in 19 states, with 5 states of Zamfara, Kebbi, Sokoto, Niger and Katsina mostly affected.
All humans are vulnerable. The fact that you don't have meningitis in other parts does not mean that they are not vulnerable. They are.
Some of the governors briefed the gathering on the efforts being made to curtail the spread of meningitis.
We put a committee in place, comprises the Royal Highnesses, members of State Assembly, honorable commissioners, local government chairmen, and relevant stakeholders and our development partners. Why? Because it's the same system we used in 2012 when we were fighting the polio, and it became a success.
We have intensified surveillance and engaged in mass media public enlightenment on meningitis, while prepositioning appropriate medicines and medical supplies in our hospitals across the state for free active case management of suspected meningitis and chemo prevention.
Nigeria's Minister of Health, Professor Isaac Adewale, and some of the development partners, while stressing the need for adequate funding for vaccination, highlight the importance of disease surveillance.
Some of the things we need to do to make things better will be to really change things and prepare ourselves by positioning disease detectives, the surveillance officers across the state. One death is more than enough. One case of fever, an unusual presentation, is what we need to trigger the alert. And it is better for it to be a false alarm than to be a true alarm. We know that in the Northeast, the children are already facing the burden of malnutrition. They are already facing all the consequences of the devastating conflict. Now, letting meningitis penetrate in this area would increase that burden.
Members of the traditional institution then lent their support.
Traditional rulers of Nigeria, in coordination with stakeholders, will do all that is humanly possible to assist in ensuring that our people and members of communities are given the appropriate medical attention promptly.
Everyone present here is expected to back up their words with actions so that diseases such as meningitis will be appropriately nipped in the bud before they take innocent lives.